Let's watch this tape right now. Michael Jackson's final rehearsal.
For freedom in the history of our nation. Every day create your history. Some things in life we just don't want to see. But if Martin Luther was living, he wouldn't let us be no more. All I gotta say is that they don't really care about us. It's deep in all I wanna say is that they don't really care about us. All I wanna say is that they don't really care about us. All I wanna say is that they don't really care about. All I wanna say is that they don't really care about. All I wanna say is that they don't really care about us.
Hold for applause, slow umbrella fade out.
What'd you think?
You know, what's interesting, I mean, I didn't think, we didn't see his toughest choreography. We've seen some of his moves. Obviously, everybody knows his signature style. So this was less of that. It didn't seem to me that they were doing it full out. It seemed to me that they were marking a bit. Sometimes when you rehearse for hours and hours all day, you're not giving it your full performance every time. Having said that, I don't think that I'd call him frail.
No, I wouldn't call him frail. I would call him thin. He does clearly look thin, and you can see that this is somebody who's 50 years old. He's not moving like the Michael Jackson when he was 22, 23, and you wouldn't expect that. But it's so hard to sort of judge with what he's wearing and with the moves, and what portion of the rehearsal was this at the beginning? Was it the end of a couple hours?
Right, exactly.
Is this something they had done over and over? Let's bring back in Mike Taibbi. Mike, I assume that you had a monitor and was able to see that. What'd you make of it?
Well, that's now the second time I've seen this, David, and a couple of points about it. All three of the people we spoke to, his choreographer and his music director and the director of the show, said that that was a full-dress rehearsal on Tuesday night. He was capable of doing the entire 90-minute show. And yes, he is a man in his 50s. I know, as a man in his 50s, how that feels when you exert yourself physically in a way that's as intense as it was. No, it wasn't Beat It or Thriller, as I said before, but he was moving with it. He was into that song. I understand there's a video of the original video of that song from some years ago. We're trying to find that just to compare what he did then and what he's doing now. But the choreographer and musical director, Michael Bearden, said that they had to slow Michael down. He was so into it that when they actually were trying to give him a chance to rest his voice or to slow down a little bit, he was so competitive and so into it, he'd force himself to do every number, and that he was doing it that night. Don't forget, you're looking at Michael Jackson less than 48 hours before he died. When that video was taken, it was less than 48 hours before he died. What happened between then and that Thursday midday out here in California? Nobody of the four we talked to says they know. They saw no hint of any drug use or impairment before, during, or after any of his rehearsal performances. They certainly didn't see it that night. He did go to his dermatologist after that, I was told by Randy Phillips. Who knows what happened after that, and we're not casting any aspersions on that, but he did have a doctor's appointment after that rehearsal, and then less than 48 hours later, he was dead.
Mike, I wonder if you can put this in some context, and again, for our viewers, if you're just joining us, this is, as Mike was just reporting, this is the final this is a snippet of his final rehearsal 48 hours before he died. Mike, how long was this particular rehearsal? In other words, we're seeing a minute and a half out of how long? Was it a couple of hours? Was it an hour? Any guidance on that?
I think it was a couple of hour rehearsal, because I asked if it was a full dress rehearsal. The specific question I asked was whether or not they had enough in the rehearsal footage they gathered in that last week to put together a true sort of pre-concert rehearsal video with songs that had a beginning, a middle, and an end. And they said, yes, we did. In fact, Randy Phillips' exact quote was, we have some intellectual property here that's going to be invaluable beyond our calculations, but right now they just want to bury their friend, as I said before, but that is there. It is in the well. They do have it. and they expect that it's going to be extraordinary and will show the world that of the two choices for how Michael Jackson's concert series was going to go, either he was going to crash and burn or make the most extraordinary comeback in entertainment history, they thought it was the latter. He was going to make history with it, and he was willing to put out all the effort, and did put out all the effort in this rehearsal to do exactly that. David, Monica?
And Micah, we're just going to pause here because it's 15 minutes after the hour. We want to replay this video this is about a minute and a half of Michael Jackson's final rehearsal. This tape was made less than 48 hours before the pop singer's death. Let's play it right now.
All I wanna say is that they don't really care about us. Some things in life they just don't wanna see. But if Martin Luther was living, he wouldn't let us be no longer. All I wanna say is that they don't really care about us. With deep fire, all I wanna say is that they don't really care about us. I'm scared to remind you. All I wanna say is that they don't really care about us. All I wanna say is that they don't really care about us. All I wanna say is that they don't really care about us. All I wanna say is that they don't really care about us.
Hold for applause, slow umbrella fade.